going on, YouTube? Tom here, and today I actually wanted to talk about another little topic that comes up fairly regularly in my engineering classes, and that's actually the future of the electric car. A lot of people like to argue that it is the future of cars, and that's where we're going to go in the future. However, I disagree. I'm sure other people do too. And today I actually want to talk about that. Talk about why I actually disagree. Why I don't think there is a future in electric cars. At least at the rate things are going now. Now, you mention electric car, the first thing that comes to mind, there's really two main cars that people think of, and that's the Chevy Volt, which is really a hybrid, and also Tesla. Now, the problem is the market is pretty small for electric cars. You've got, again, as I mentioned, the Teslas. The Volt doesn't really count because people usually classify it as a hybrid, although it's a plug-in hybrid, I should say. I was going to say chargeable hybrid, and there's something like that. It's a plug-in hybrid where you plug the car in, charge a battery, and then the purpose of it having a motor on board, gas motor, is solely to charge the batteries. Essentially, it's not an engine anymore, it's a generator, so to speak, as opposed to the Prius, which uses a chain drive hybrid where it runs a gas motor to run the wheels and also battery pack in parallel. More on that in another video. I can always explain how hybrids work if you all want to hear that. Just let me know. But anyway, the other big electric car that they sell is the Nissan Leaf, the cheapest of the electric cars. Or at least it was when it came out, and I think for the most part it still is, excluding the Volt once again. But the problem with the Leaf, though, is your range is pretty limited. You get 40 miles or so. When it came out, it was a lot. Because at the time, you had electric cars, they were all more or less limited, just because your big limiting factor is the battery runs out and you have to charge it. You have to actually plug it in for several hours at a time before you can go anywhere. That's the problem. It's because that's not practical for a lot of people. Now, if you're driving the car to work, that's all you do is drive to work, then drive home, maybe drive to the grocery store. It's fine. You have more than enough range to do it. In fact, in the emergence now in a lot of cities, and also especially my school over here, we actually have charging stations where you simply plug in your car. Only EVs can park there. If you park a non-EV, you will get a ticket. So, and there are Volts, of course, that will park there, and it always slightly annoys me when a Volt does it, because it's like, really, you have a motor on board, but they don't take the same engineering classes I take. But that is kind of the purpose of a Volt. And you also have the Prius plug-in version. I think it's the Prius Prime now is the name of it. It's Prius Prime, or is it Prius C? Anyway, I'm not a Prius expert. I know they make multiple Priuses. Either way. So that does the same thing where you plug the car in. They're a little bit more viable, but you still have the limiting factor of it has a gas engine. So now let's talk about, of course, Tesla, the ultimate EV at the moment. Now, of course, the big limiting factor of the Tesla is they are very expensive. Anyone who's looked at the Tesla prices in the last few years will know the base Tesla right now, the Model S, I believe it's the 60, is actually around 60 grand, I think it is. Someone let me know in the comments below. I believe it's 60 grand if I have my numbers correct. And of course, you can go all the way up to as much as 120 grand or more for the Tesla. And that's the P, I believe it's the 130. And I thought that actually meant price when it came out. I thought, wow, they have it coordinating with the price. And it turns out it's the number of kilowatt hours each battery pack has. So basically, if you want the ultimate range, the range topper, you have to spend extra money on the Teslas, which, that of course is, they're saying you can have this much electricity. Now, here's the big limiting factor with the Tesla, not besides just the price, is when that battery pack wears out, it's going to cost a boatload to replace. Now, I'm taking Rob Ferretti's information a little bit here. So yes, Rob Ferretti did talk about this same information in his video recently, where he basically said the same things. You have the battery pack in a Tesla is a limited lifespan, as is all hybrids. And of course, Prius, as some people might know, if you look at the battery pack on a Prius, to the best of my knowledge, getting another factory Toyota battery pack replacement is $8,000. Now, of course, Toyota guarantees them for 100,000 miles or 8 years, And now there's old first generation, second generation Priuses with 300,000 miles rolling around on their original battery pack. So, and of course, $8,000 is still a whole lot cheaper than buying a brand new car. Now, Tesla's, of course, the big limiting factor is the lithium-ion battery packs cost approximately $20,000 to $30,000. So the big limiting factor there is if you buy a used Tesla, of course, you're gonna possibly have to replace a battery pack at some point, and that's as much as a new car would cost. So it's a big limiting factor right now. Now Teslas are coming down in price, as most people do know, because a lot of people have orders for them. They have the Model 3, which is going to be the affordable, so to speak, Tesla. Well, the big limiting factor there is they've already sold 400,000 allocations, so basically they have 2 years worth of production gone, so it's going to be hard to get. And that's, Rob Ferretti mentioned this, of course, in his video, and it's actually out there on the web too. Other people have talked about it. And the big problem there is, it's just if you want one, you're probably going to have to pay a markup. Someone might sell their allocation, which is kind of a shitty thing to do, but it's the way it works. Now, other automakers could easily come out with something to counter that if they wanted to. The reason I say this is, I've heard predictions say that as soon as someone like Toyota gets into the game, which actually they are in the game, they actually own, I believe it's like 50% Tesla, it's 49 or 51%. Toyota majority owns Tesla, or not majority, but like they own a very big, I believe the term I'm looking for is majority shareholder, I believe is the term I'm looking for. Biggest minority shareholder. Mine's going blank today on all the terms I'm thinking of saying, but either way, Toyota owns part of Tesla, and actually in some of their cars they've used Tesla drivetrain components before. When they did the RAV4 EV, they actually used a Tesla set of driving wheels, so it's actually made some sense to me that what they're doing. And then Tesla's big plant that they have in Fremont, California was actually a Toyota plant previously. It's actually where they made Tacomas in the past. I just happen to know that. Yes. Anyway, so Toyota wanted to, they could easily buy all of Tesla because they have enough money to do it. Although Tesla is rapidly going up in value as a company, so if Toyota wanted to, they could buy it, or they could even just come out with their own drivetrain setup if they wanted to. And Chevy is going to actually come out with an EV. They're going to do the Bolt EV, which is Chevy's first all-EV. Kind of weird that they named it the Bolt, kind of referring to the Volt, so it's an interesting name they gave the car, I think, but we'll have to see if it's a success or not. They haven't released any figures on the range or anything. They're predicting a couple 100 miles, because I think these days the 40-mile range is not enough. Basically, if you want to take your car on a trip, you have to have a charging station basically coming with you, and the best way of a charging station is a motor. Why not just bypass the batteries and get a normal car? Which actually, that's going to bring me up to my next point, why I don't think in general, I actually don't think the electric car is the future whatsoever. It's because people say, Teslas are environmentally friendly, and people try to say, oh, my hybrid's saving the environment. And I'm here to tell you it's actually not. So first of all, lithium-ion batteries are, of course, made from lithium. Well, where do you get lithium? You have to mine it. So you start mining it, there's now several places in the world where there are lithium mines, where basically they've just taken a spot of earth and torn it completely through and through, and now they get lithium out of it. So it's actually an environmental nightmare to mine it. Then comes recycling, because after a while they do wear out. You do have to replace the lithium-ion batteries. Alright, recycling lithium in itself is a whole second environmental nightmare. Basically, you're cleaning up the air of cities in favor of polluting somewhere else. You're not saving the environment whatsoever when it comes to Tesla. Just fair warning. And so you have nickel metal hydride batteries in the standard Priuses as well, and some other hybrids, where they're no better for the environment. Jeremy Clarkson said it on Top Gear way back in the day. He said it'd be more. It's actually better for the environment to buy a Range Rover than it is a Prius. For the most part, he's actually correct. So really, electric cars are in fact just as bad, if not worse, than Priuses. So the future right now is not good as an environmental standpoint. That's kind of the selling point they like to use, and it's false. It's false information. So either way, given that, I just don't think there's a future in electric cars at the moment. Now, so anyway, let me know in the comments below what you think. there's any Tesla owners here, go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know, because I do like Teslas. I'm not saying anything bad about Tesla. Wouldn't mind owning one in the future. So let me know below what you think about that. Do you think it's a viable concept? Do you think electric cars really are the future, or do you think they're not going to be? Because as you know, the Mustang is going to hybrid in 2020, as Ford has alleged they're going to do. So we'll have to see. Ford may even be switching to eventually an electric Mustang. That might be the future. Instead of 5.0 Coyote, it could be, 500 kilowatt Coyote. So either way, if you like this video, go ahead and leave a thumbs up. If you stopping in for the first time, go ahead and please subscribe. I would love to grow this channel, and have a good day.